So, if you are a first-time viewer, you might not know this, but I hate the cold. Hi, my name is Darren. I'm a dad. I'm an airline pilot. I am a husband of a scientist, and I'm headed to London. I haven't been to London since the 1st of December. If you're a long-term viewer, then you know that I used to go to London every month all last summer. So, kind of returned to Europe for the first time. Actually, I haven't been to Europe, period, since December 1st. I've been doing nothing but Asia and South America since then. This is a pretty super easy trip. I did pick this up. This was in addition to my schedule. Now, well, it is a 4-person crew to London from Dallas. Normally, it's a 3-person crew. Why the extra person? Great question. Because one of the pilots is being trained. I believe, and I'm sure it is, there's a new captain being trained. So there's going to be a new captain in the left seat, a check airman, which is a captain who trains people, in the right seat, and then 2 first officers in the rear jump seats. Normally, it's just a captain, first officer, and first officer in the jump seat. When someone's getting trained, for whatever reason, I haven't looked it up if it's a FAA thing or ICAO thing or a company thing, but there has to be a full crew on board that is trained for that flight. So by having an extra person on board, full crew, and plus, probably more likely, if it's a 3-person crew, for example, say if they had just 1 extra first officer, well, when the training captain went to go take a break, then it'd be me up with this new captain. And I can't train this new captain, right? Even though I might know the airplane better than that person. So that's probably why they have the extra first officer, so that when the captain and the check airman take a break, they take a break together, and then 2 first officers who are fully qualified sit in the flight deck. That's probably the reason. So again, I picked this up. This is in addition to my normal schedule. I was supposed to go to London 4 times this month. I traded out of all of them. I picked this up because sometimes you have to fill a hole. Now, this is not my ideal trip as far as London, but again, I haven't been there in a while, so let's go back to London. But I figured it's a 4-person crew to London, super easy. In theory, nice long breaks, chef's kiss. The only possible downside is I could be working 6 days in a row. So I get back, this is right now, it's Sunday at 2:23 in the afternoon. I get back Tuesday around 2 in the afternoon. And then on Wednesday, I leave for Madrid. Yeah. Another relief pilot trip. I might be trading that trip to move it so I have some more time off. If not, I've done 6 days in a row before. They're both relief pilot trips, pretty easy anyway. So there is that. With this trip, I will now be right at 100 hours for the month, including my Madrid trip. And with that, I would it'd be 12 working days, 18 days off, 100 hours for the month. Pretty good month. The check airman for the trip is this captain, this check airman, did my initial training on the 777. You know, solid white lines mean you can't cross it, and big ultimate energy thinks they can just pull over when there's no space. Anyways, this check airman did my initial MV, maneuvers validation, on the 777 way back in March. So he's a super nice guy. I've flown with him before. But that is where I'm headed. Now, of course, London is very cold. It's like 30 degrees, 20 degrees. You know, right now in Dallas it's 35 degrees, so I'm going from cold to cold. But I will not be going out in London beyond getting lunch, maybe the Whole Foods, and that's it. Unless the crew wants to go out for dinner, maybe. I did bring all my cold weather gear. I'm wearing thermals. I have a thermal top in my bag. I have my extra puffy liner for my work jacket. I have my beanie cap. I forgot my hand warmers. I let my wife use them. So I left my hand warmers at home. Darn it. I need to put those in my bag permanently. Darn it. But yeah. So I might go out with the crew if they go out. If they don't want to go out, then I will happily not go out. Because tomorrow morning we get in at 7 in the morning London time. Um, and I normally go to bed at like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, London time. So if they're going out late, I don't want to go out. But my normal London way I operate in London is we get in tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., hotel by 8:30. I'll be sleeping from 9 until noon, till 1 o'clock probably. Then I'll wake up and go about my day. So we'll see. But headed to the airport now. This will also be my first time on a 777-300 since December 1st. All right, that's all for now. So for most flight crew members, we take at most 3 bags. Average is 2, sometimes 3. I'm a 3-bag person. So obviously my suitcase. Then I take this bigger bag here. It's called a kit bag. Now, back when I first started flying, I used to carry around 40 to 50 pounds of paper manuals for the airplane, for airspace, for the airline. Nowadays, it's mostly just my iPad, my headset, chargers, snacks, some paperwork, flashlights, that kind of thing. And then I have my own little personal satchel bag with my electronics in it. Now, on this day, I'm like, oh, look, here comes my Terminal D bus, D South. I'm going to Terminal D. What great timing I have. Then I look down and I realize I have no ID on. I took my ID off to shoot the video. So back to my car, and the bus is gone, and I had to wait about 10 minutes for the next bus to arrive. It is what it is, right? On the bus, watch some TikToks, relax. Again, these bus drivers, some are great, some are a little bit sketchy. Again, I used to drive a school bus of a similar size. Got through KCM without being randomed and pulled up my phone to sign in for my trip, and I realized that the captain I was flying with was brand new to the airplane. He had 0 hours. We're advised how many hours we each have and how many landings we have after we sign in for a trip. It's not a big deal. I just know what to expect, right? He'll be new to the plane. Got my Starbucks coffee and head over to the flight deck. I was the first to arrive. Again, I am the FC for the trip, the second relief pilot. That's a terminology my airline uses. They have FO, FB, and FC. I am in the FC. I'm the second relief pilot. So again, this is a 777-300. I have not been on 300 in a while. Right here is where we'd go upstairs to our crew loft area, but yeah, that's not present on the 200s. Walking up front to the flight deck, they're almost all identical with the 200. Slight differences in the screens and some of the small buttons. I'm sitting over here, FC, behind the FO. So we push out the gate and we're doing the ZAC 4 departure out of DFW. Pretty standard departure up to the northeast. It does serve the north and south runways, primarily south runways from what I've experienced. The one restriction is J-Girl at above 5,000 feet, and that, I believe, is to help the Love Field departures from the other Dallas airline so they can leave the area to the southwest. Now, how do we know we can make this restriction? Because there's no distance given between the runway and that first fix of Spera, because it is a heading to an intercept. So on the top left-hand side, you climb a heading 176 to intercept the 157 to Spira. So the onboard computer can predict, based on the information we give it as far as the temperature outside, the wind, the weight of the airplane, and the runway, whether or not we can make that restriction at J-Girl. And we also have charts in our manuals that say, hey, if it's this hot outside and you weigh this much, you probably can or can't make that restriction. If we can't make it, we tell ATC, and they just give us a heading to follow after takeoff. After takeoff, we just kind of headed northeast toward Canada to join the track over to London. And this is the biggest variables, right? The weather over the United States. How long is the flight going to take? If there's a lot of weather over Kentucky or over Chicago, over Philly, that determines how we're going to get from where we are to join the track to fly over the Atlantic Ocean. So we joined the track at Janzhou, and from Janzhou, we had a bunch of latitude and longitude fixes over the Atlantic Ocean, and we verified those multiple times. And we kind of move along. We go from the Gander ATC sector to the Shenwick ATC sector, and then we get into the London ATC sector. Every time we get to a new sector, we do multiple things on board, including we have multiple ways of communicating with ATC. We have the radio, and we also have an onboard computer. We verify both are working multiple times during the flight, especially as we enter each new sector. We do verify the radios are absolutely working, so we have voice contact with ATC. But the primary is using our computers to talk to them. Now, on this particular aircraft, our flight crew bunks were out of service, so we had to use a first-class seat instead. First-class suite, really. It was very comfortable. It's a lay flat bed. So I watched some Noel Phillips
ate my meals. I did take a pretty good nap. Again, I've learned to sleep even when I'm not super tired uh, on airplanes. Not everyone can sleep on airplanes. If you can't sleep on an airplane as a pilot, you will not enjoy the wide body. But the captain made a fantastic landing on runway 27 right. And again, this is a long airplane, and he did a fantastic job getting taxiing into this narrow alley, parked the airplane, and we all cleared customs and then hopped on the bus to head to the hotel super early on a very kind of a rainy, dreary, foggy morning in London.
So, back in London, currently 2:26 in the afternoon, I had a very good nap. Just to recap, got to the airport in Dallas, left my ID in the car, whatever. Got coffee, went to the plane, first to arrive. About a long shot, actually. Nice change. I did text the captain ahead of time, asked what he wanted me to do. He said, don't do the box, the FMS, right? Cool. So I did the interior flight deck pre-flight of the aircraft. And before I was done, the FB arrived. Again, I'm the FC. Super nice guy. He's about 5,000 numbers senior to me. Speaking of seniority, my airline updates seniority numbers once a year, normally. But recently, I went back one number. I was 949. I've always been the same number for the whole year. Now I'm number 9050. Anyways, um, so me and the FB got everything going. The captain and the new captain, that's Chick Airman and the captain, I'll say. Spent a lot of time in ops. They arrived a little bit late to the airplane. Not a big deal. We handled it. Me and the FB handled all the small fires that were popping up yesterday. Like, a lot more than normal. This random small stuff. Like, really? Really? But boarding started. The captain and Chick Airman arrived. Again, I've only Chick Airman before, and he did my training. Uh, poor new captain has to deal with so many small fires on his first captain wide body trip. I mean, this was his very first time flying the actual airplane. He's a former 787 FO. Very nice guy. He's about 8,000, no, about 7,800 numbers senior to me. Pretty senior, very senior captain. He'll be a line holder right away. But he had lots of fires we had to deal with at the gate. But we pushed back early. Very nice. We weren't full by any means. Some of my wife and kids didn't come with me, but we're full on the way back, so oh well. But pushed back, and then taxiing the plane is different than taxiing the sim, and he did a very good job getting onto the first taxiway, and then in the first 90-degree turn, he kind of overshot, but again, it's normal. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just it's different when you're in the real plane. We're over to 35 left, and then when we got over there, something with our numbers changed. So we had to get new performance numbers. So we had to take a small delay waiting for departure. But took off, great climb out, and up we went. The FB made the rest schedules. We each had a little more than 3 hours of break. We was divided in half because again, the captain being trained has been overseas a lot, so he knows how the whole gig works. People that are brand new to being overseas, normally first officers, but sometimes captains, the Chick Airman will say, "Hey, to the FBFC, you guys come over about 30 west and not the normal break time. Because 30 west is that way they get a whole sector of oceanic operations. But as is, when we came up front, we hadn't even entered the tracks yet. Right, halfway point, we're still in radar contact with Gander, right, domestic. So we came up front. Speaking of breaks, I'm a little all over the place, by the way. So I've been on 300 since November going into December, right? I was looking forward to going in to our nice bunk areas. Yeah, versus the 200 bunks I don't care for, but they are what they are, right? No, I couldn't do it. Our bunks were MEL'd. So we had two first class suites to use instead. Again, we're very lightly loaded, so it wasn't a big deal. There's two open seats, not a big deal. I just meant two upgrades couldn't happen. But so went back for our break. I was in 1A. Again, I was up there before last year. I took my family to, 2023. I took my family to London. We got first class suites on the way back to the United States. But those suites are very nice. They're very comfortable, but they're not as noise proof as the actual bunk areas are. In the bunk areas, you can hear nothing. In the seat, you can hear everything that's going on in the cabin. I have my Bluetooth headset in, and they're noise canceling, and they're very good. I can still hear the clinking of, silverware against plates and that kind of thing. It's what it is, right? But it's only about 5 in the afternoon. I'm going on break, so I wasn't exhausted anyway. But I did sleep for about an hour and a half for my break. I woke up, watched some YouTube, and then I talked to the purser. I said, "Hey, do you have any extra meals? Because we have standard crew meals." But I'm like, "Do you have any extra like first class meals that weren't eaten?" And so I had a first class meal instead of my crew meal, because my crew meals never change. So had a nice first class meal in my seat, and then had another half an hour left still. Um, and then it was almost time for our break. So I saw the FB getting ready behind me, so I started getting ready to change out the seat. We went up front, and it was a very easy crossing. I mean, I worked for 3.5 hours, 3.5 hours in my seat. Again, I haven't been over to London in a while, or Europe in a while, and they've changed the oceanic procedures. So when I went up front, I read about it at home, but then make sure I knew what the changes. It's very minor changes. It's just different than how it used to be. But the new captain was a flying pilot on the way over here, so I was in the FO seat, so I was pilot monitoring on the radios for the most part, doing paperwork. Very benign crossing, no issues at all. We had normal turbulence for a little bit. We climbed up to 350. Beyond that, it was cake. Uh, they came up front, and the entry into London was fairly standard. The new captain was, he's nervous, normal nervous about coming in to be the first time landing a big old plane, right? Not like crazy nervous. It's lots of questions and stuff, and that's all normal stuff. I have the same questions, right? Most people do. London's a very busy airport, so we came into the area. They were giving us speeds. They gave us a hold, Bob, dang it, Bovingdon, and we just entered the hold one time, made one turn, and then they canceled the hold, and we got turned back direct Bobington and vectors for the approach. Uh, we did have to get turned out a little bit more because it was spacing, but he handled his speed and his descent extremely well. It's very cold here, overcast about 1,400 or 1,900 feet, one or the other. Broke out, went calm winds, and he made a great landing on 27 right. And then, of course, taxiing in London is very tight, and he did a great job taxiing to the gate. Got to the gate, deplaned, and we were done. The unfortunate part was between Heathrow and the hotel, there was an accident on the highway. It's not a highway here, but the M4, wherever it is, two accidents. So the normal 25, 30-minute drive took over an hour. So we landed and got to the gate just before 7. We got off the airplane about 7, 10, 7:05, clear customs, and then we hit the road about 7:35-ish, and then get here to like 8:40. Yeah, so I did sleep a long time. Got to the room, I forgot how small the rooms were. Like, that's the front door, this is the whole shower, and then that's the door to the bathroom, and that's the toilet way over there. It's very small. It is what it is. But yeah, we waited for about 10 minutes for our room keys, standard stuff, whatever it is. But now I'm going to call the wife and kids, check in on them. It's nice and cold in Dallas as well. Then I'm going to go get lunch, get my what do I eat? Oh, I'm so tired. Papaya and orange juice and snacks for later and for breakfast. Work on some computer work and get ready to go back tomorrow. Again, it's a 24-hour overnight, but I'm already down to 16 hours, less than 16 hours of van time. So, all right, it continues.
I'm very habitual on my overnight, so my new thing is this udon noodle place, right? This little sticker here I laugh at because I once left all my stuff to get a refill of my drink. Anyways, the exchange rate isn't going so well. Like, it was like $17 for my small udon noodle meal with my Coke Zero. $17. Yeah, it is what it is. But enjoyed my meal. Went to Whole Foods. I did get my papaya because I like papaya, and my orange juice and my snacks. And I played some games and some editing some videos, and I watched some Hulu Plus to enjoy my overnight. Again, it's cold outside. It's winter. I'm not going outside a whole lot. But again, I did go outside a bit to get my steps in and get a snack from a local McDonald's before bed. But beyond that, I didn't do anything in London on this overnight. I like my rest. Thank you very much. All right, finally put glasses on. People think it looks weird. All right, so it is currently 9 p.m. in London, and I don't have my watch on. I think it is 6 hours before this, so 5 o'clock in London, Dallas. All right, ready to go to bed. Didn't do a whole lot, and that's fine with me in London because it's cold outside. Again, I did have multiple layers on, and it was only in the 40s. I say only, but I still don't like it. So that's me. My shirt says introverted but willing to discuss airplanes. I did publish a video on seniority, so that was something I accomplished today. And I am still editing the video on Buenos Aires, which by the time you see this would have already been published. And I played a new game on my. Stop carrying around the ASUS Ally because it's annoying. But I got this Legion Go last month in December. Bigger screen than the ASUS Ally. Speakers aren't anywhere near as good. Speakers in the Ally were much better, but bigger, brighter screen. These come off, but I don't think you need to have them come off. Same CPU, but anyways, I started playing a new game today, this week, Aliens Dark Descent. It's okay. I also played a game called Road 96. It's like a choose your own adventure game. That's what I did. But I got my papaya. It was not very good. It was more expensive than it used to be. I got my orange juice and some pumpkin bread. And I always have my protein drinks of some kind with me as well. But yeah, that was my overnight. Didn't do a whole lot. As far as the crew going out, the captain wanted to go to a Lebanese restaurant at like 5:30. I'm like, that's okay. Because it's kind of far off, and I didn't want to walk that far in the cold or even deal with the cold. So I passed on going out with the crew. Even though I was going out with the crew, I didn't go out with the crew. The relief pilot has a buddy here, so he went out with his buddy who lives here. So is what it is. I am trying to trade my next trip. I'm always talking about trip trading, right? Well, a trip came in open time today, and it is another London trip, but it's an FC gig, right? Because they're doing IOE, leaving on Wednesday. Now it's worth half an hour less than my Madrid trip that I'm scheduled for, but it's an easier trip, right? It's FC. It's 19 and a half hours pay, and I'll do 7 hours worth of work, 8 hours worth of work, right? So, and it gets back. It starts a little earlier, but it gets back earlier on Friday. Friday evening, there is a band event for my oldest kid. So, I put the trade request in. I won't know if I get it or not until I wake up in the morning. So either be a surprise that I got it or a surprise that I didn't get it. I'm probably not going to get it. But that was London for this week. Didn't really miss London. Don't mind London. I will be happier in the spring when it's warmer. So 9 p.m. I'm going to start packing up the room, hit the bed, and in all honesty, I'll probably wake up at 2 in the morning because that's what I always do. Then I'll go back to bed around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I'll wake up again for the van. All right, it continues. It is 6:36 in the morning, midnight 36 in Dallas. This lighting in this room, this light here, it doesn't match, so is what it is. I went to bed, I think around 9:30, 10 o'clock. Slept really well. I didn't wake up at 2 in the morning like I used to wake up at 2 in the morning and sit here for an hour like I'm awake. So that was good. I did wake up around 5 in the morning though. So there's that. But I got a good full 6 hours sleep in, which again at home in Dallas, Arlington, I normally go to bed around 10 p.m. and wake up around 5 a.m. And my wife goes to work at 5 in the morning down the hallway. Anyways, good night's rest. Woke up, checked on the inbound plane. Supposed to be coming from Charlotte, and that plane made it in half an hour early. But they swapped us to a 200. Yeah, I'm not happy about that. I haven't been on a 300 in the bunk area since, again, November. And I was looking forward to it. So now we're on a 200, which on a 3-person crew, not a big deal. 4-person crew, I don't care if the bunk area is in a 4-person crew, but I'm going to deal with it. It is what it is. I'm going to go to the bunk. I'm not going to go to the chair for my rest. So I still work tomorrow. I didn't get the trip I wanted. I wanted the trip to trade into this London FC trip for tomorrow. I'm junior and it went senior to me. I figured it would. I have really about another 2 hours to trade before I start duty. and then my trip is locked in for tomorrow. So Madrid, here we come. Again, I did this to myself. I didn't have to do this. But once I'm done with this next trip on Friday, I'm off for the rest of the month. So all next week I'll have the week off. So that is good. Room is packed up. Speaking of room packing up, it took a while for me to figure out a routine to get my room packed in the morning after an overnight, How much time do you need? Like, we get a phone call an hour prior to van time for most overnights. It's automatic. Um, but I take a shower at nighttime just to have save time in the morning because my hair takes a long time to do in the morning. So, and I pre-pack my room a lot. But even then, I started moving right around an hour prior to van time, and I still have 20 minutes left, but my room is mostly packed up. But it took me a while to get to this point where to know how much time I need in the morning to get ready. So, all right, let's go to the airport. So on to the cruise shuttle to head to the airport on this early morning in London. Again, we're going against traffic. Everyone's going into the city. We're going outside the city. So we didn't hit a whole lot of traffic. We did have to get these bus drivers do an amazing job going through these neighborhoods with these big buses. It is tight sometimes. I'm amazed. Never had an accident or incident I've heard of. But even though it's early in the morning, I'm avoiding coffee because, again, I just woke up from bed, got dressed, going to the airport, pre-flying the airplane, then I'm going to go to bed right away. It's different. The flight back was very standard, nothing exceptional. Chatted with the other FO over the Atlantic Ocean, got into Dallas. The check airman made a extra fantastic landing on 36 left. Cleared customs, and here's a tip for you if you follow along this long. If you ever clear customs in DFW Airport, don't go down the escalators to the right. Go straight ahead to these elevators. You'll save yourself a good 30 seconds, especially if you have carry-on only. Now, if you're checking bags, whatever. But these elevators, there's almost always one up top. You save quite a bit of time. Cleared customs, went outside, hopped on the employee bus, out to my car, and now for the debrief.
All right, so back from London, and I feel fantastic. Currently, right at 2 o'clock local time, 8 p.m. in London, right? And I don't feel like I've done a whole red eye. Mostly because, well, a few reasons. I did have a great night's sleep last night, and it was a 4-person crew. So I had, versus a normal 3-ish hour break, I had over a 4-hour break. So the extra time really came in handy, getting rest in to feel better as far as how tired I feel. So it was nice having a 4-person crew. Now again, here I am leaving the airport now at 2 o'clock. I have about 25 hours at home, including right now, and I'll be back here again. I did it to myself, and I'm fine with it. So how was the trip? So left the hotel, a little bit of traffic because of narrow streets, big bus, big garbage truck blocking the way. Not a big deal, but very tight. Those bus drivers earn their money. They do an amazing job getting us to the airport. But got to the airport and then security, right? I haven't had London security in a while, and I forgot how annoying security in London is. So I had one of these Fairlife drinks, right? It is 340 milliliters. I told them this is for use on the airplane. We're allowed to bring it. It's only a London thing. So they had me put it in the same security bin as one of my bags. I'm like, okay, but last time you guys put it in a machine, but hey, I haven't been here in a while, not my job. So all our bags go through. And I go through the middle of the sector and I beep. My ID beeped. Now, this is just me venting here. You can fast forward if you want to. My ID beeps at certain stations, other stations it doesn't beep. And the pass, because it beeps, I take my ID off and put it through the security scanner because I don't want to beep. But then they ask, where's your ID at? I'm like, it's in the machine because I beep. You need your ID. I have my ID, I'm going to beep. You need your ID. So they did their extra procedures because I beeped. Whatever. Lots of us had issues in security this morning. It wasn't just me. Some had much worse than I did. London security. Got to the airplane. The airplane did come in late. And again, they swapped us from a 300 to a 200. Uh, so got on board, and I was already feeling negative about having a 200. I'm like, gosh, 200 for 4 persons. New captain, light load, we had like 140 people on board, very light load. Pushed back early. The check airman took off from the right seat. Normal climb out. FB made the brake rest, the rest times. We headed back, and the other FB, other FO, I did the walk around, and normally they make the bunks. Well, I assumed he made the bunks. No, he's going to the seat, so he didn't make the bunks. Not a big deal. I made my own bunk. It took me like 2 minutes to make my own bunk. Went in, and I went to sleep quickly. I am so happy I am easily able to fall asleep on the airplane and can almost fall asleep on command. Now, a lot of this has to do with how I prepare for this, right? I had a great night's sleep, but this morning I woke up and I had no caffeine. They're all drinking coffee. I had oatmeal and orange juice, right? And a protein drink. No coffee. So, again, I'm not sleepy, but I'm not fully, let's go, I'm alert enough to handle my job as a first officer. I can evacuate the airplane, yada, 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 yada. But anyway, so I went back to my bunk, and I fell asleep right away. I slept for a good hour and 10. We had some turbulence. I woke up, used the restroom, back to bed. Slept for another hour and 45 minutes solid, like solid sleep. Woke up, and I'm like, all right, I've had, almost 3 hours sleep. I think I'm good. So I went out to the chair, watched some YouTube. I did not have my meal. Just wasn't hungry. So I did go up to, when our break was over, went up front. They went back for their break. They were ready to go to bed on their breaks. And I was in the right seat, pilot flying for the trip back. By the time, because we had just 2 breaks versus normal 3 for 3-person crew, they did the whole crossing by themselves. I came up front right when we were getting ready to talk to Canada, to Gander to re-enter, over land, so to speak. So no paperwork involved, no plotting, no blah, 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 no nothing. So radar contact, easy, easy, easy. Hey, another 777, no, 787. So I was up front, and it was smooth. We were at 30,000 feet because we're light in at 200. No issues whatsoever, not even a little turbulence. Very smooth flight. The captain under training, he's super interesting. So he has a great attitude. Like, he's very funny. Lots of sayings, and we tell him something, he go, hey, he go, hey, hey, like that was his thing. Like, he got it. Okay, let's do this. He's a very funny guy. Turns out, he said, yeah, I even have a SAG card. He's an actor. He's an actor. If you've ever seen Yellowstone, he played a cop number 2 in Yellowstone, some episode of Yellowstone. I'm going to look him up. But he's been in a few TV shows and commercials. Yeah, he has that look. Anyways, he came up early from his break, not to sit in his seat, but to just talk and get used to the airplane. And he's from the 78 FO, very senior. He's one of those senior FOs. I'm like, you need to go somewhere because you're taking on my overtime. He's he's in the 1300 seniority range. So he could have held captain for a while, but he was enjoying his seniority. And I get it, man. Totally get it. But he talked to me and the other FB. The FB is very senior to me. I'm number 9,050 now. I went down by 1 number. The other FB was number 4,000 something. So we're about 5,000 numbers different in seniority. He's been on the airplane for 7 years. So he talked to us for a little bit. Just random questions, talking about the 200, flying, where we came from, all that kind of stuff. Just chit chat. Hey, another 300. That's a 200. Anyways, talked for quite a bit. He was up front about 40 minutes before his break was over. Finally, his break was over, and we all kind of did our do-si-do to do our end of break sessions. Cleaning up the flight deck, getting rid of our trays. I did have my lunch. It was a new lunch on board, so I had my new lunch. It was a sandwich with chicken and hot with cheese, and it was hot. It was interesting. But I did have my afternoon lunch thing. But check camera came up front. It's an absolutely outstanding visual day in Dallas. Pressure today is 30.74. Crazy high pressure. That's like 800 feet above normal pressure for right now. Very high pressure, great visibility, 32 degrees. But he made an outstanding landing on 36 right. Left, 36 left. Like, I joked with them in London that, hey, I have stock in Goodyear and Dunlop. I like firm landings, let my stock price go up. He's like, I don't know, Darren, we'll see. Dude, he was just talking out loud what he was doing, so the other captain could get an idea how the pacing of the airplane. And I learned something too. He said, at 50 feet he doesn't do anything. At 30 feet he goes eyes to the runway and it slowly starts arresting the descent, and it just kissed the runway, like kissed the runway. Great landing. Short taxi in, and by this point my bags are already packed. Like I start packing up when I get back in my jump seat. So my bags are already packed. So once they hit the parking brake, engine shut down, I am standing up, getting out the door. So me and the FO were quick to get out. Cleared customs, turned my phone back on, saw my messages, and headed home. So again, it's now 2:07. I'll get home, see the wife, kids come home from school at 4. I'll get dinner. I feel great, and I'm not tired at all. So I'll get dinner going for the family. I'll have a nice evening with the family. And then tomorrow morning, breakfast with the family. Send the kids off to school. I'll be editing a video about Buenos Aires, which you've already seen. And then I'll head back to the airport to go to Madrid. So this is not the end of the video. It's still going. Again, this will be I'm not going to have an hour-long video, so this whole video should hopefully be about 35 to 40 minutes long. I appreciate your time. I don't waste your time. All right, to tomorrow morning.